I just introduced you guys.
Yeah.
And Chromie Hyojin, sometimes it's coming out in Korea. Korea specific, these kind of strategies has come out in hero leagues and some team leagues as well. And some Chogaos really diving in right now with Chogao along with White Mane, actually really strong as what we can actually do.
I mean, White Mane just makes Cho'Gall unkillable.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Similar to Ariel.
So Korea does have those kind of weird off-meta ones, which I would love to see, but it just does not work against the better team.
If you make a comp like this, and you are able to show depths and multi-layers of the game, you know, I talked about like the 4 aspects, right? Team fights, which they played well on, and then for early game, mid game, late game. Well, early game was only going to be that was the only place where this was really going to have a lot of success. And if you can make a composition like this look good, and you can even show some other elements of like, oh, I didn't realize why this might be good in mid game, or something like that, then I think that's a comp where everyone gets excited. But if you run a comp like this and just get totally smashed, and at the end of the game you're bloodlusting to try to kill a Punisher, and you don't even kill the Punisher during the duration of Bloodlust, there's a difference between being creative and finding success or finding new facets of play, like Nazeebo, for example. And then there's plays that often look foolish, shall we say, to be totally frank. And Supernova clearly prepared this composition, but it falls flat. I don't think we will ever see this again.
Hope not.
Hammer's banned.
Yeah, Hammer's banned.
Super strong on this map.
Yeah, we saw what kind of rotation could have been worked on this map. Yeah, Matt Sustain will do some great amount of bait as well as siege damage. And also great for taking the bell tower back to your own team.
Well, they get their Dahaka finally.
And
Kirisaku finally gets to play this one. It's been a while.
And a Blaze ban. Quite interesting, as I think they just wanted to focus on that tank and the solo lane a little bit more, as they were going to get that Dahaka first pick.
Well, now I think there's a really good chance we see the Urel ban coming through as well. So limiting lockdown quite a bit. He could still play Sonya again, but it won't make as much sense this time. You see the Raynor and Muradin coming through. The Muradin pick, very popular today.
Yeah, having a 5 out of 5 in part 2. In 5 games, yes. So I think it's just his comfort pick by now. He hasn't been this much focusing on to Muradin only. There are certainly other options. Diablo's still open, Nubarak, even Garrosh, which would actually help saving Raynor a lot in this case. I think it's what he just prefers to choose.
Well, we know that Karzim proclivity is there as well for Alex, given the way that this map plays out, especially when you have a Muradin. So that's going to be banned away, instead of actually you know, looking to ban out something like a Malfurion, which is more meta. Question is now, do we see the Urel ban? I think it's a smart one. You control the top lane with Kirisaku, targeting Signs and Nubarak instead, once again. So where do we go from here? I think we see there is a small chance Lockdown plays the Thrall, but I think that it's more likely that we just see the Urel come through here with this Phoenix. Nope. Zeratul. That's a rare one. Banned sometimes if you know, get banned every now and then, but
hopefully they will have good back on Zeratul solo lane and have to scroll with that rotation, trying to catch someone off guard with extra CC with that wolf.
Oh my god. Abathur probably.
Abathur? Okay.
Oh god, this is just... Hey, I'm gonna make my bold prediction, G-Club.
Okay, who wins?
Craziest thing I've ever said.
Who
this
wins?
is not gonna work. I know guys out there, you're like, oh, it's Illidan, like, Wolf's insane, I can't believe you thought this wasn't gonna work. But think about Malfurion's slow, sustained healing to keep him alive. Think about, you know, Twilight Dream, maybe, could even,
nope.
You know,
Twilight Dream is gone.
Twilight Dream, G-Clef, you know, like, it's gonna heal Illidan more than Tranquility will to keep him alive in these fights. it's going to have to be Hunt Illidan, right? Because there's no Abathur here.
Mm-hmm.
You have literally 2 soul laners. So who soul lanes? Does Dahaka soul lane or does Illidan soul lane?
Both.
So it's a 2-man melee lane?
And they just keep rotation with that Muradin. Muradin, Rainer, Malfurion, mid lane, bot.
You know what?
Down.
What if this is just one of those things where you run 5 in a lane and kill a bell tower? Something like that.
Like China Sylvanas?
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure it out, okay?
Yes. I know you're going outside, you're reaching, and trying to figure out. Post 10, certainly Hunt. That's what they're looking for, but when Blossom put out an Illidan, they lost. Yes.
Illidan hasn't won a game in 10,000 years.
It's because of the pressure of Power Slide. It has always been a thing. ETC's Power Slide, like soft counters Illidan, he wants to dive in. The moment you dive in, Power Slide just catches him. And if you're stunned, you can't really do anything, of course. And then, of course...
Oh, look at him going for auto attack build here.
Hatred. Not even going for anything else you could have, actually. Okay, this makes sense, though. They want to go for late game. That's if they get to late game.
I just want to watch Illidan this game. I don't know what, like, is there anything else to show? Like, what are the observers like watching Sign Mount over here? I want to watch Illidan lane, but not alone. I want to watch Illidan be in a lane, in a 4-man rotation.
Camera onto Illidan on this game and just see what happens.
You guys could check it out on PlayXP.
Yeah, playxp.hgc.com.
This first-person view. It's no chat on Illidan, by the way, so that's not really a surprise, but I'm going to be honest, like, I'm going to say something maybe a little bit controversial here.
Offensive?
Not offensive, but it's a worrying trend for our region, I think, that the tier list between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, etc., is like, the gap is so wide that teams like Supernova feel the need to, like, basically cheese or do something really weird in order to take a win, rather than trying to play standard. Like, look at this 5-man rotation. Zeratul like, okay, I'm soaking. They got a Sapper camp, but it's not going to be significant in the grand scheme of things. I'd rather see, to be honest with you, I'd rather see a team like Supernova try to play meta, even if they're mechanically inferior, and continue to try to grow as a team so that maybe next year, or maybe towards the end of round robin, they learn a lot from Tempest and learn a lot from the other squads. I'm not trying to call this game over by any means, and like maybe I'm going to be the one who looks like a fool at the end of all of this. But right now, I'm leaning towards no. Look at that wolf right there. That's wolf played by Lockdown.
When Blossom actually had it, was that, I believe it was Cursed Hollows, and he went for camp times, tried to macro the entire game from the beginning, but it is not the same on TOD. Post 10 you have Hunt, but it's not the same amount of camps. You can't really go all the way up, just walk there. You waste a lot of time.
Let's see how this first real fight goes, because they have the global aspect here, and Kirisako is crushing Dami in lane. He's such a good soul laner, and obviously it's a bad matchup for Zeratul. Let's see how this fight goes. Like, where do they put the resources? They try to delay bot and collapse onto blue side, and then try to get the top 2 that way. There's a lot of different things they can do with Malfurion in particular, because they have Moonfire. Actually going to commit down here to a 3v3. Trading in the top shrines. Can interrupt this again. No chat's coming in. Okay, there's a root. Sign actually getting caught here. This is a bit of a mistake.
He has a power slide, so unless he gets, yes. Perfect timing when the Aga comes. So it buys all that time. So Zeratul just joined into the fight as well. They have massive ranged pokes. Phoenix and also hide on being on Deckard.
Okay, Alex is in a dangerous spot here, but he's not in power slide range. Kirisako has to burrow. Uh-oh, look at this root. Just on the edge of it is Malfurion. And there's just so much damage from Good here. Once again on this Phoenix. They're just getting poked out so hard. And this will be the second shrine going over to Tempest. Bloodless, though. And Supernova doesn't lose anybody. They're slowly trying to send Kirisako to the top lane. And Illidan can't go up there to babysit it because he's also dealing with a mid push and Zeratul was on top of him, so he would have died trying to rotate, so that's why it's taking such a long time.
There's a few extra waves of minion, I believe 1.5, and Teaka is soaking that up now, so not too much actually lost. But what Tempest, if they can actually macro this one out, oh heaven, Kirisaku dives in once again. He has to make a place. He actually sacrificed lots of experience on top.
Okay, here comes Dami, though. He's not just going to leave it this time. They are going to get the camp, but can they win the fight? They do get the kill here onto Deckard, so heal-less now is Tempest. And Dami's going to have to go back mid and get some soak.
It was also weird
Oh my
choice.
god, this just happened, though. That was a close call. Really good play by Sign.
It was also a weird call by Tempest. Maybe because they lost the previous Sappers again on their side. Maybe they wanted to dive in this time. They could have just had Zeratul push the lane even more and just let that one go without a kill.
Yeah.
And they will still control the macro and even have more experience lead. But they chose to fight instead.
Yeah, that's... I think that's just a sign of slight overconfidence, but... We'll see how this next fight goes, because this one's going to remove a lot of the elements of macro. So it's going to be just the solo altar. And Kirisaku can sit up there and soak extra, but he's going to have to eventually make that choice to come down if they want to take this, because it's going to be a 5v4 fight while he's gone. Stormbolt misses. Ibn's caught. He should be able to get out of here eventually. Root's going to help him. He's just got so much healing coming through from Alex, so this is actually fine. Meanwhile, Dami's forced to blink away. And look at the health bars here on the side of Tempest. They're not trading up. They're actually trading down. Because they're not all on the same page. They're struggling to deal with this comp.
Evan dives in, focusing onto Dami. He's alone rooted. Just out in time.
No chat.
Very low. He's putting out the maximum is what he thinks. But if he does not get the kill, and he goes down himself.
He just needs to keep everybody healed up. Dami looking for the interrupt here. Fails to get that hit. Does interrupt, but he dies in the process. Alex getting the channel. Sign can't hit him. They at least get the 4 shots here, but it's going to be a team wipe now. Slow onto Kirisaku. Heal deny as well. And Tempest can now just head back to macro. They're going to get 10 first. The thing about... What do you think about... Like, I'm thinking about this both ways. I think Earthquake actually could be strong here against Illidan and against the Dahaka, but Sundering is also really good against Illidan. What do you think? Like, I think both are viable here for Thrall.
I think just doing more damage and possibly setting up with BP Chain as well. Not the Earthquake. You wanted to have burst more damage that pairs up real well with BP, and also the Mosh Pit. He's thinking about that stage dive for a second.
Yeah, same with the Earthquake is still being considered. He is going to commit to the Sundering. Because they have Stay a While and Listen and the Void, like you said, like Sundering I think just becomes the more enticing choice because you have so much more potential for a big play that way. Mosh is going to be great against diving melees. But Stage Dive allows you to avoid fights and play macro, which is what I think Tempest should do in this game overall.
He's just waiting for Illidan's pick here as he goes Hunt or Metamorphosis. Depending on that, it will be locked in right after.
Ooh, they're going to catch Dami here. Oh, that missed, unfortunately.
Great juke there as Dami.
That could have been a kill.
Smells that buggy, boy.
You get hit by isolation, there's no blink, you're done so.
But not today, not yet.
Looks like this might just be a trade. In fact, Tempest is willing to trade and just look for the macro. They're heading down towards that Sapper camp. Scouted out though, and so they're going to have to just head to lane. This is a scary moment for Tempest though. Like, this is not the early game they were wanting. Cleanse has to be used here. Going to get out though of the root. Scroll is saying not connecting. You know,
they're basically waiting for, is this going to be a macro game or all 10 players just having a crazy team fight? Waiting for that moment trading because Tempest, they know if they just snowball this game out, I think they have a better chance. You can just see that Void Prison locking down.
Yeah. One thing I am a little bit surprised about too is we saw Zeratul instead of something like, well, I guess HGC was the final pick. I was gonna say I thought Zeratul was the final pick for some reason. I had to look back at my draft sheet. I was gonna say something like a Cassie would be so amazing here against the Raynor Illidan, but they couldn't have known because Illidan was in the final rotation. And they need a tank. Johanna could have been good, but ETC is, I think, even better against Illidan. I'm just surprised this is doing so well. Obviously, for those who watch my flabbergasted reaction, you would expect as much. Void has to be used here. It's a trade. It will still connect, which is actually so bad for no chat.
Oh, with the Hunter, you can just go over the wall, though.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad
but
of a trade.
You know what? I mean, with Sundering coming up here, he dodges the Sundering, but it's going to cost him his life either way. But that's actually a really cool tech. That's a good way to deal with Hunt when you're Zeratul, because you can't cancel Hunt after Void, so you do get caught into the port no matter what.
And stage dive as a response from Sign. They want to macro this one out, always catch one of the members of Ubentons in that route. Of course, teammates are coming, but will they be in time? No, Salvo catches 2.
Not entirely sure why he was being that greedy positionally. Stage dive makes it so easy to do things like this too. So ganked, caught there, punished for his overextension, and suddenly Tempest takes an 8 health lead in this game. Gonna get the Sapper camp. Red side should be up in just a moment. And unfortunately for Supernova, I don't think it's the comp that actually caused him to lose those moments. It was just the decision making.
Yeah, individual decision making, actually.
Yeah.
Not the team shot calling in the big time macro, but individual decisions to actually gank onto the top using that Hunt and being all the way down there when you're losing members and when you know stage dive is coming all any time. So from that moment, okay, snowball of course for Tempest the big time. They're gonna try to take that around onto Phoenix. Silence continues. There's a kill that he wanted so
far. Yeah, that prevents the warp. That silence there. Sign looking for the power slide. Sundering doesn't hit anybody here. Anti-synergy on the side of Tempest. Caught, flustered again. No chat's gonna chase forever. Okay, this is their chance to turn a 4v3, but they don't have the damage. They do not have enough damage without Phoenix to turn that 4v3 fight despite the Void. That's how you want to use Void in most cases. It's not gonna be for stopping Illidan hunts. But Supernova get that isolation. That's the focus fire. That's the teamwork this composition needs in order to work.
And onto Phoenix. That is the perfect target they do want to delete all the time. Do they have anything, any crazy thing to stop that from happening onto Phoenix other than BP? I don't think so.
I mean,
they can have some peels from ETC. That's about it.
I mean, I think that in general, Good just needs to be positioned in such a way that it's impossible for isolation to hit him. If he's positioned well enough back, then that can't happen. Hunt is what led to this, and so, you know, you have to keep that in mind as well. But if you're positioned far enough back to where this is not a factor, then it's less concerning. But the fact that there's no cleanse makes Supernova's comp work so much better. Kurizaka will be interrupted. Hunt coming in as well. Stage dive though, they need a quick rotation up. Sundering's ready, so Sign just needs to buy a little bit of time.
Supernova does manage to get the bottom one.
Here we go.
But look at the rotation. Phoenix Raynor, very late.
And the boss getting involved in this one. Look at the bot push as well. Actually could collapse onto this.
Heavy's actually delaying this, so there's a easy exit for the bottom teammates.
That's so true. That's exactly what this is for.
And I believe they did some minimal damage to the bell tower on the bottom left. And they're trying to think this in a longer term because Tempest did hit 16. They have basically double global now with the Haka and Illidan. Risky choice, but so far so much better than game 1 for sure. And they do have Raynor, long range GPS to actually have some wave clear to do. Let's see he gets caught big time.
Oh, juking and jiving. Avatar comes up. Here's the Hunt. They're looking to delete Phoenix again. This time there's no isolation. There it is, but everyone else is too far away. So Good's gonna live here. Well, I say that. They actually collapse on the Void here. Makes this a 3v1 for a moment till it expires. Now is looking for an angle here. The slide, trying to save lockdown. He walks right into the root. Stage dive used as an escape. What the hell was that?
What was that sound? Old man screaming out.
That was
looking
really
for cow
spooky,
levels?
man. What was that?
Cow from cow level?
Oh. That was my spirit of like not believing in this comp. Me like saying Supernova, we're trolling basically.
The game's already over. Wolf 2018.
Yeah, that was like my spirit dying after Supernova took a lead. I was like, oh.
Well, sign of the
there's a Reddit thread about this tomorrow. Like,
even though it looked very not coordinated from Supernova when they focused on to Phoenix, and he was rotating around the Zapper so he does not get dragged by the Haka, he still takes damage from the Swarm. And also, actually, Hyperion went all the way down there to do the damage onto the remaining HP of Phoenix as well. So overall, working in together.
I think there's a lot of counters to what Supernova drafted, but like no one would have ever expected what they were going to do. So, and they drafted in the last rotation. So it's a rough time. Everyone's respawned. Game's still tied up though.
Yes,
is DPS Illidan a thing? Like we already have Thrall, another melee, kind of serving as a ranged DPS in what we accepted as traditional drafting forever. Is Illidan gonna become like another DPS? Not a solo laner, just a roaming DPS. We have to ask that question now.
We had a few months with that Illidan pick. I believe early last year. But there was some mistakes from Tempest side as well. Trying to catch Phoenix. I just had a very early stale while listen.
Sundering has to be used here, and the sleep. I don't know if Lockdown gets out of here either way, but look at that. Illidan gets caught by the power slide. Void's here, and now this is a 5v4 fight. And they don't have their biggest impact, the Illidan. Bantam's caught by the Wolf.
Oh, Rainer's not getting away. Poor Jimmy. And the edge of the power slide gets stunned. Alex runs away, but there's the root from Deckard now. That's going to be another kill put up by Tempest.
He is going to die. I have to say his roots have been fantastic this game, though. Maven's just getting a stack. That stack of shame. You're like, at least I can get this stack. I'm going to lose a bell tower. Dahaka's trying to make it a 1-for-1, but with stage time, it's 30 seconds away. I guess they will trade this.
I don't think it will go down in time. Yes, 5 shots already shot. Getting the sappers, preparing for the boss play.
Yeah, that was too early. Okay, here comes another rotation up. This is going to get a little bit weird. Double Stormbolt.
And Hunt is available. Illidan's thinking about using it on
there it is.
There we go.
Okay, Good's coming up here. Good power slide. And this is just a bit sloppy for Supernova. They save Dahaka for a little while, but it ends up being a trade in the end. He does go down.
And with that bell tower taken and the rotation, with a quicker join into a team fight, I guess they lock the boss as well. They're getting... And Supernova actually getting to deal with sappers. So they actually get quite a lot done with that Hunt actually being super valuable for them. Even though they lost the team fight, Tempest didn't get maximum value out of it.
Sure. They got 20 though, and that's something Supernova is going to get when they do retake this bell tower, but that's not something Tempest wants to allow. Here's the root right after the stage dive, but they keep this alive. They're going to grab these sappers. Actually, they're going to grab more than that if Haben does not get away. Sundering committed. They want this. He's got Avatar. Everyone's rotating over. Illidan does not have the Hunt, and that's going to be a dead Haben. And that's a disaster. So they will get these sappers eventually. They're leashed, but they're going to come back. They're going to get taken out here. They may be able to take this bell tower out before, but even that is not a guarantee. 10 seconds for the altar.
So with this bell tower down. Oh, look at the rotation. There's a slow.
Sleep.
With the power slide, that's 2.
Such a good sleep there from Hyde. Basically guaranteed the roots there. And even though they got the bell tower back, the sappers get through because it hasn't respawned yet.
And
oh, they're going to get more than just those 3 shots.
Oh, are they?
Almost.
They get 3 shots in. 4 plus the boss. Seems like it's game to me. 40 seconds onto Illidan Hunt. They're already moving up to boss. Supernova knows exactly where they're going. They will try to delay. And Tempest, they do have VP, the one to stop that hunt.
Yeah, the VP is the X factor here. I don't know if it'll even take 22 seconds to get this boss down, though, with this many heroes up here. Hirosako is going to maybe look for an isolation grab here. Steps onto the point. Haven comes over.
4-man isolation. Isolation gets 0-2 down. But with that thunder, there goes the boss. There's the 4 shots. That's game over.
GG. Supernova did a lot more than I thought they would with this composition, but at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do with this melee-heavy composition. We saw it on Shrines, now we're seeing it on Towers of Doom. And Tempest, all smiles here, as it was a bit scary at times and a bit awkward to deal with the hunt. But we got to see that incredible VP in the top lane, which was, again, it's rare, that's not normally what that's used for, but it was actually pretty cool to see that mechanical play.
Yeah, cool interaction. If you use the skill, most of it, like the toss, once you are using the skill, even after the VP, it just follows through right after.
What's unique about the hunt is because it ends where the target is, so when the target moves to a different location while he's in stasis, then he gets caught behind a wall.
Yeah, there are some funny moments, like it follows the flight as well.
I'm almost more interested in how many stacks No Chat got that game than his damage and his 1 in 5 kill line. Signed 0 deaths, by the way. It was able to be a huge impact to counter this comp quite well.
He was able to run away with that stage dive as well.
True.